Dateline, Coventry, England, 2017. Somebody lands a 1982 Turbo Seminole so hard that the nose gear collapses and both props hit the runway. It's a case of insta-junk. The plane's value is in the tank. It's a salvage case. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away in Chicago, Dave Coleman sees the airplane on the internet and makes his move.
But I came across this one on a Sunday morning at about 8 o'clock in the morning on the internet and made an inquiry, asked a few questions, and then made a decision to fly to England and look at the airplane. We hired the FBO in Coventry, England, and they took the airplane apart, put it into a 40-foot shipping container. I hired a friend of mine to arrange for the transportation and came over on a boat, and then from Gary, Indiana, and then from Gary, Indiana, it took a truck to Kenosha.
$15,000, and a couple months later, Coleman's plane is uncrated at his home base in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He's got a rare bird. Only 87 Turbo Seminoles were built, but he has to restore this one. Question is, how do you get from this to this? It took a lot of help.
Myself and a friend of mine, Joel Randall, who is a A&P mechanic with an IA, we did the work, and we had friends and family and, various folks who gave some time, and some of it was paid, but a lot of it was unpaid labor. When I went into the whole thing, I wanted it to be a family effort. I wanted to introduce my kids to aviation. My daughter, Naomi, did a lot of paint work, but not paint work, finishing type paint work, but a lot of touch-up work. For my son, Ben, who at the time was 8, he did a lot of cleaning, and then also when the airplane was getting ready to fly, I had him and one of the neighbor kids install fairings on the airplane. My wife, Julie, provided the most generous support for the project by helping out cleaning, bringing food, and putting up with it, because I spent a lot of nights and weekends at the airport.
A new panel, an overhauled engine, 2 new props, and new paint, including luminescent paint for the prop tips.
While I was researching the Sherwin-Williams product, I kind of drifted into some of the other products that they carried and noticed that they had a photoluminescent paint. We painted the prop tips with what they call the Afterglow photoluminescent product. When I show up at night, that is the first comment, but even during the daytime, for the overall beauty and luster of the aircraft, I get a lot of compliments on the paint job as well.
2 years and $309,000 later, Coleman has his reborn 185-knot cruising machine. It's a one-of-a-kind, probably the best of the 38 remaining on the registry. It's luxurious and quirky, with carburetors and turbocharging, plus prop de-ice, standard on most European Turbo Seminoles. In all, the restoration took nearly 4,000 hours of work. Question is, would he do it again?
I would say no. No, I don't think so.
Because?
It's a hell of a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And at the end of the day, I'm still upside down financially in the airplane. There is one thing I will tell you, and that is you will never, ever, ever have a greater pride of ownership than when you do something like this yourself.
Tom Horn, AOPA Live.